Let's talk about the Morgan Reilly suspension. 5 games is enough to keep him out of the lineup. Not enough to take it to a neutral arbitrator. He can appeal, and from what I've asked around, and the consensus is that the Leafs will appeal, but the person who makes the final decision on that is George Parros' boss, guy you've never heard of. His name is Gary Bettman. Now,
who has gone against Parros in the past?
Yeah,
in favor of the Leafs.
Yes, and that was with Spezza?
Yes.
Okay.
He went from 6 to 4.
Well, because it was ridiculous, and they know. I think in that particular case, there was no precedent for it because there are no precedents, but also because they know they would have lost the arbitrator. I don't think Gary Bettman did that because he's like, I like Jason Spezza. He did it because he knew the arbitrator was going to reduce it anyway.
Well, you know what I think the NHL had no appetite for? This story continuing. Like, all right.
I thought it was great.
Give him. Oh yeah, did you?
I think the story's great. Yeah. I mean, God, they got it on Pat McAfee. Come on. Like a legitimate story on that show rather than being like, yo, let's bring Gary on and pretend hockey's awesome and that we all love
Isn't
it. Like,
hockey awesome? Like, just
they were
making a mockery of it.
Legitimately talking about it.
Yeah, no.
I've never seen Gino Reda more fired up in my entire life.
No?
Gino Reda
what was Mean Gene saying?
Man, so they had Brian Hayes, they had Marty Biron, and then they had Gino, and they did a segment together. Brian Hayes, obviously, full blown, like, yeah, he did the right thing. Marty Biron, and actually a lot of ex-NHLers are like, yeah, he should have expected something. Maybe not a cross-check to the face, but he should have expected something. And Gino's like, listen, the only person that Morgan Reilly hurt there, and this is just his opinion, I'm repeating it, is his teammates because now he's out 5 games.
And honestly,
all legitimate.
It's kind of valid. There's some validity to that.
Yeah, but he said it in a far more fiery way.
Mean Gene.
Gino, you're not used to him being all fired up, but apparently he's a very passionate guy. Yeah.
He's never been your boss.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're a 22-year-old fucking up his scripts.
You might have a problem with it.
That was me, 21 actually.
So okay, guys, 5 games. What was your reaction when Kevin Weeks leaked it? And we will get to that, by the way.
My first reaction was, how the hell does Kevin Weeks know that?
Yeah.
I know maybe I'm a little too close to the painting.
Let's not talk about that. Let's keep going.
Well, no,
that's later in the story. Let's talk about Morgan
Reilly. It's relevant,
Reilly.
and I guarantee Brad Treliving's going to bring it up today. But 5 games, my reaction was, all right, fine. But like 5, I can sort of live with. I've seen 5-game suspensions before, but the ramp up to this made it seem like Reilly was going to get, everyone seemed to latch on to the number 6 because with an in-person hearing, you can do 6 or more. Mm-hmm. No, guys, like when I heard it could be 6 or more, I'm like, they're going to really throw the book at this guy. And I started to allow myself to believe 8 to 10. I really did.
Well, you're worst case scenario, though.
I am worst case Ontario, and I understand that. The battle of worst case Ontario always goes on in my head. And listen, like it's what's been fascinating is I've said so much about this incident, and a lot of people heard all of it, and everyone who heard all of it, or most people who heard all of it, were like, "Oh, okay. I see where you're coming from." But the people who heard some of it were like, you fucking unreasonable, stupid asshole. But as a Leafs fan, I am saying this. With 6 seconds left in the game, attacking a player who just scored a goal, dude, you can't do it. It needs to be something that's taken out of the game. Like, even if you push and shove the guy, like, you can't be doing that. There have been some people who have crumpled up their reputations and opinions and relevance and thrown it over their shoulder over the last few games.
You mean since the Reilly
days?
Yeah.
Like, listen, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Say what you want about me. I'm very open about what my biases are. I like the Leafs. There's a lot of liars.
No, according to Leaf fans, you don't.
Oh yeah, some Leaf fans. Listen, you can't please everybody, but
right.
I've never lied to you. I told you who I cheer for, and there's a lot of people who are
serious journalists,
who
quote unquote,
claim to not be fans,
I think, man,
Get out of my face!
I think
not a chance.
Based on his
Not
tweets,
a
Bruce
chance.
Garriock spent more time in hospital than Ridley Greig. Like he's just like every time he brings it up, it's not Morgan Reilly incident or Morgan Reilly crosscheck. It's vicious Morgan Reilly crosscheck. Every tweet.
Well, I mean, you
And
don't
you're
get
like,
5-game
oh,
suspensions
Bruce.
for gentle ones.
Bruce, relax. Listen,
I'm not going after him.
here's the issue I have.
Go at him.
I'm ready to put this to bed because it's a okay. I was like 5 games. Yeah, I was expecting somewhere in there, but I'm ready to put it to bed because it's like the absolute. I've never seen this before in my hockey game.
Just lying. Just
You're
lying.
You're flat out lying.
Just lying. And like people comparing it to Dale Hunter on Pierre Turgeon?
That's not the same.
How do you look yourself in the mirror? Aren't you ashamed? Aren't you just a little ashamed?
Anybody who's doing that has never watched a Dale Hunter game outside of that one clip. Look up Dale Hunter's penalty minutes over the course of his
I got
career.
a better one. They've never watched the clip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's the same. In the same way that all car accidents are the same. You're comparing a fender bender to a head-on collision.
Dale Hunter, guys, give me a guess. Dale Hunter played 1,400 games in the NHL. How many penalty minutes did he have?
1,400, 1,600.
Okay, Jesse.
20,000.
Well, Steve's closer, but
Not by much.
3,500.
Holy shit!
There was one season where he got less than 100 penalty minutes, and it was his last one where he played 12 games.
What was his biggest?
Actually, no, that's not even true. Even his last one, it was 12 games with the Avs. I remember he got traded there, and the Capitals, he had 102. So,
oh my god!
Yeah.
What was his biggest one? Did he ever top 300?
I'm looking. No, I think it's 265 and 85-86 with the Nordique. No, 272, 81-82 Nordique. Yeah, so Morgan Reilly, Lady Bing finalist, Dale Hunter, masochist.
Dale Hunter.
Yeah.
Like
what are we talking
comparing
about?
Those two things is humiliating. And also, there's a lot of people you don't need to listen to anymore. It's good because this incident allowed you to see who you don't need to listen to anymore.
You're not talking about fans, though. You're talking about, like, major media.
I'm talking about, some fans, too. Because there are fans who are fun to talk with.
Yes.
Because they're reasonable. And even though they don't like your team, they understand. And then there are some fans that hate the Toronto Maple Leafs more than they love their own team. They hate the Toronto Maple Leafs more than they love hockey. Like, genuinely deeply. And there was a big air of, oh my God, this story is exhausting. And I agree, but I don't think I agree for the same reasons. Were Leaf fans a little unreasonable? I'm sure a lot of them.
Forever and always.
Forever and always. That's what, fanaticism is, as long as you don't take it overboard or whatever. But there were a lot of people. I mean, the Schadenfreude was ridiculous. And that's okay. You're allowed to hate a team. You're allowed to love every bad thing that happens to the Leafs. I just don't have to regard your opinion as legitimate.
Okay.
As a result.
Jesse, you're smiling over there. Why?
No, it's just we wanted to put this to bed, and then they spend a lot of time talking.
I was gonna put it to get bed after this show. I think. Why would I bring it up if I was putting it to bed today? All right. This is putting it to bed.
Well, putting it to bed, and then the GM of the Leafs is going to talk about it. And
yeah, it won't go to bed. Now,
this friggin' zombie.
I want to show you something that happened last night that was a non-call on Ridley Greig, and I'm not sure if you've seen this.
A non-call on Ridley Greig?
Jesse, the video is from @EverydaySends on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. If you can go to the 3rd second and just freeze the video.
A non-call on Ridley Greig.
This involves Boone
Oh
Center,
my God!
a knee-on-knee.
Sorry, I was very surprised because he wasn't in the frame at all.
Interestingly enough, on this play, the Ottawa Senators get called for something.
Well, they get called.
No way.
Yeah, they got called for like interference or something on another part of it. But yeah,
I thought you were about to say embellishment.
no, but it's a brutal.
Ooh,
that is an ugly hit.
No, Greig's pretty lucky there.
Now, I don't think this has anything to do with the Morgan Reilly thing at all, but there certainly is. he's certainly on a different level. If you ask the average hockey fan who Ridley Greig was and who he played for outside of Ottawa before this incident, people would be like, I really don't know.
Maybe he's getting buntinged.
Well, I think what's happening very likely is that he's becoming the Senators' pest, and that's a part of becoming the pest for every team is that there's going to be guys like Boone Jenner. Now, the Blue Jackets got absolutely squashed by the Sens last night.
Yeah, that's usually what you're supposed to do to the Blue Jackets. Everyone.
Yeah, I wish we. But is this the guy who's fighting for pest respectability in the league in the way that Marchand has, or is this a guy who other veteran players are like, listen, I saw what you did to the Leafs. You're not doing that here.
I think both things can be true. Listen, it's a treacherous job doing what he does. It's making the NHL the hard way. It used to be you did whatever to make the NHL by being the bully, by throwing the fists. Now you make the NHL by being the bag. You put yourself in a position where you piss everybody off and they attack you. That's how you make the show these days. There's no more, big cats. You got to be the rat.